Hello, everybody. It's Graham with another Move TV, bringing you your week on a plate. And today I've got Martine with me. Hi, Martine. How are you?
Hello, all good, thank you. Hope you're okay.
Martine Gibson. Tell me, Martine, what is it that you do?
So, I'm a therapeutic coach. That's what I am. But what I do actually, to answer your question, is I help people to find their magic. And the way I do that is I work with people on a one-to-one basis who have been diagnosed with a mental health illness such as bipolar disorder, panic disorder, anxiety, depression, PTSD, OCD. And then the other side of what I do is I facilitate workshops, and those workshops are based on emotional intelligence, self awareness, confidence, and imposter syndrome. So, all that empowerment stuff, all the
Yeah,
good stuff.
I always love the word facilitate. It's a wonderful word. It's one of my favorite words because it means that you make it happen.
Yeah. I think I use the word facilitate because I help to facilitate change.
Mm,
So I help a person to change their own life rather than doing it for them. So I give them the tools and the means and the techniques to be able to do it for themselves. It's like that saying, when you say if you fish for a village or you fish for a man and they only for one day, but if you teach a man to fish, he'll eat forever type of thing. If that's how the saying goes, that's what I do in a mental health, emotional intelligence type of way.
yeah. I was talking on LinkedIn this morning. This is going out live on LinkedIn. Hello, everybody on LinkedIn,
Hello.
as well as some other platforms. Um, I was talking about nothing necessarily comes for free. I had my toast this morning was from a free item that I'd gained from the supermarket. Apparently, I'd earned the free item because
Nice.
obviously I'd spent a lot of money with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the coaching sector, there's a lot of times when people are giving out value a lot of the time in order to start the conversation.
Yeah.
How can coaches work alongside people but actually get paid as well? It's a hard one, isn't it?
It is. I mean, for me, I think I started out, I qualified as a personal performance coach many, many moons ago. And then I qualified as a counsellor about 6 years ago. And I like combined them. But when I qualified as a counsellor, I really struggled to get paid. And it wasn't that nobody wanted to pay me, it was I struggled to,
Ask for
you
it.
know, ask for it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I thought what I'm doing should be free. It should be free. But at the same time, I trained. There's a lot of life experience, there's a lot of personal experience with family members, my own story, and everything that goes into what I do and how I do it makes it a little bit different. So I talk about all the negative stuff, but make it fun, believe it or not. But yeah, in regards to getting paid for it, it's just understanding your worth and knowing that what you do adds value. And I think a lot of the feedback I've had from many of the clients that I've worked with, especially the ones that have been diagnosed with mental health, is they say things to me like, "Thank you for saving my life." And you're like, oh, then you get a lump in your throat, and it's like, that's what you get paid to do. That's what you
yeah.
actually get paid to do.
No, absolutely. From my own experience, working as a workplace assessor for many years, I quite often came across cases where it had been sort of noticed that this person was struggling from a physiological point of view.
Yeah.
They may be experiencing some aches and pains, some headaches or something like that. But actually, when you got in there and you started talking to them, you realised that there was more to it. And
Yeah.
as you dug a little bit deeper, you kind of exposed that there were things like PTSD or anxiety disorder or whatever underlying all of this, and it was kind of manifesting itself from a physical point of view. Do you see a lot of that? Do you see actually the kind of knock-on effect of
Mm-hmm.
a underlying cause, but it's causing lots of different things in
Oh,
somebody's life as well?
absolutely. One client in particular springs to mind. So I worked with a lady and she had an illness called Charcot-Marie-Tooth or some. I think it was that. It was a really strange illness, something that I'd never come across before. But it was a physical illness. And basically, she had trouble walking, so her legs were kind of, rickety. But she could walk fine. She was just, had to take her time. On her first session, she walked in, she was fine. I could tell, the lady had a little bit of trouble walking, but she held her own, she was cool. After 2 sessions, she didn't come back. So I was like, oh, that's not like her. She was really like upbeat, she was in that mindset where she wanted to tackle what was going on and she was ready for it. So for her not to come back for the 3rd session, I was a little surprised. So, from courtesy, I just sent her a message and I said, I hope you're okay. I just found it a little surprising that you didn't come, but not in a bad way, just surprisingly, you were ready for it. I just hope you're okay. And if you decide that you don't want to come back, that's totally fine. And, I wish you well. And then she sent me a message back and she just said, talking about my past, bringing it all up. I'm really not well. My body's giving on me. And I don't want to come back because it's brought it all up to the surface. So I explained about, she's most probably left herself open, but it was her choice whether she wanted to come back or not. So she came back for session 4, and I got a call to say, your client's at reception, because I was working in an office, obviously for myself, but just hiring out space. Your client's in reception, can you come through and help? So I was like, oh, okay. I walked through. She was in a wheelchair. She could not walk, Graham. Her mindset, her mental health had depleted that much. It took its toll on her body. And she literally had to get help out of a car by her friend. Then the friend had to get into a wheelchair. And then I had to wheel it into the room. And that was on session 4. By session 8, session 9, her last session, that lady walked into my room. And she'd spent those few sessions prior to that working on her mental health, working through her issues. And she literally walked into a room. And for me, that was the biggest gift ever. And I still get a lump in my throat thinking about it now, because compared to what she was, her mental health just after 2 sessions, bringing up the past, it hit her hard, but she worked through it. She gave it all. And whilst it took its toll on her body, she got through it. So your mind and your body are so connected, and that lady was living proof.
I love stories like that.
Yeah.
One of the best letters that I ever got from a client, remember it really well, was this letter. And as I started opening it, my heart sank. Yeah, it was one of the best letters ever, because this person had said, I'd been out to see them. They were really struggling. They were in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Their mobility was really poor, and I'd recommended some equipment for them, including a chair. And they kind of felt that they'd wanted a particular kind of chair because this was really going to help them, and they got that stuck in their mind. But I recommended something different, and they said, I don't like this chair that you bought me or got for me. I still don't like this chair that you've got for me. I still don't like all of the things that, you've recommended for me. And at this point, I'm like, oh, and then it went, but.
Yeah.
And it went, but, because it has made me move more, because it has taught me that I actually can get up and I can do this, and I need to just exercise more within the day, and I need to, need to use bits of my body more, etc. I've now found that I can walk. I can now find that I've got mobility again, etc., etc. And it's completely changed my life.
They're the best stories, them, aren't they?
It's fantastic.
Amazing.
It's fantastic. And it does show you, though, the correlation between what goes on in here and what happens with our body. If we give up, if we shut down mentally, physically, we start to do the same.
Absolutely.
And and vice versa. It can work both ways. Now, listen, I want to talk to you about education as well, because you've been approaching people within the education sector. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So basically, it's around emotional intelligence, confidence, self awareness, and with regards to education to universities. So I'm working with the university at the moment, and I deliver, or should I say, facilitate workshops for the students. So when students first come to university, it's daunting. You've got some coming from different countries, different cultures, can't speak English, feel isolated, feel alone. Then you've got expectations of parents and caregivers, and expectations that students put on themselves, exam pressure, peers. There's just so much that goes on for students, and it's a lot of pressure and stress, and lack of self-esteem, lack of confidence are big things. So what I've done is I've developed a series of workshops that helps to target the development and the empowerment for students with regards to the self-esteem, the confidence, because they are two completely different things. People think they're the same, they're absolutely not. Helping them with imposter syndrome, that voice, you're not good enough, you can't do this. It's looking at things like understanding and managing their emotions, because what universities have found following on from COVID, and it's really sad that we're still dealing with the aftermath of that, is that people have lost the skill of communicating, and everything is a huge catastrophe at the moment. So resilience levels are low. So it's helping to build resilience levels. It's giving them tools and techniques to be able to manage, because a lot of students feel like, they're suffering with anxiety, they're suffering with depression, and they're self-diagnosing. And sometimes it's just those tools and techniques of living, understanding that it's part of life, and they're only young as well. So it's just
It's
helping.
really an interesting time, isn't it? University time. I mean, I had a culture shock when I went to university. I moved from a small village, which was at the time fairly much in the country. I mean, I've been back there since, and it's developed into a massive a massive conurbation. But at the time, everybody knew each other. There was probably about 3,500 people in this village, etc. And I moved to a town, a city in the north, which was huge. And you definitely didn't know everybody, and it was loud, and it was just a massive culture shock.
Yeah.
But I immersed myself in it fairly well. But I think, with the communication bit, I've got 5 children of my own, and I've watched them in terms of how they communicate these days, and certainly how they communicate with friends, etc. And it's all this, isn't it? It's all this.
It's the digital world.
It's all text, etc. I never ever hear my children, even if the older ones have all got phones, I never hear them pick up the phone and actually phone someone. When I was a child, you'd phone friends.
Yeah.
Or you'd go around, you'd literally walk around and go and see them. You'd knock on the door. Now they just sit there doing this. So is that part of the problem? Is there a disconnect in terms of, and if you come from a small circle of friends at school, but you suddenly get thrust into this huge community of people, and you're face to face, it must be very daunting.
Yeah. So when you think of it, you are children of today. I mean, I've got a 13-year-old daughter, and she's on her phone. And I try and encourage her to ring her friends, and because it's isolated, and especially coming out of COVID, where people have been isolating and spent 2 years behind doors type, and been on the phones, and we are living in a digital era now, and it's going to progress, it's going to increase, it's going to continue, and there's nothing we can do about that. But what we can do is still keep the skill of communication alive, and to teach people about basic things like showing empathy, showing sympathy, those interpersonal skills as well, and understanding how to understand people, that emotional intelligence, that's what's lacking, and resilience, that's what's lacking. And it, I always say the internet, social media, it's not a bad thing, because people say, oh, so the internet, social media, it's a wicked thing. And it's not. It's absolutely not. It's the user using it. It's the end user. If they don't have the skills to be able to interpret things, or the necessary like self-esteem and confidence to be able to, not take things personal. Because I always say text, it's so open to interpretation.
Yeah, no, it can be really
Yeah.
dangerous. I mean, that's the thing, the positive side of it is that, yes, young people are building communities
Yeah.
online. They are,
It's amazing.
and they are perhaps more empathetic because they have more understanding, and they see, they see more diversity, they see more difference, and they get it and they understand it. But maybe just some of those raw communication skills have got a little bit lost, not just for them, not just for young people, but for all of us, just by being in these walls.
Yeah.
The digital walls.
Yeah, no, absolutely, totally agree with you. And I think what a lot of people do, and it's not just the young people of today, I think it's society as a whole. A lot of what I see is that comparison, and people say comparison is the thief of all joy, and it absolutely is. I always say, when you compare, you despair. You don't give yourself a chance. So it's like I always, use the analogy of when a lot of people go into social media, they take on a bag of insecurity. So let's say you've got a supermarket bag or a basket full of all your insecurities. And what you do is, when you get on your phone or your tablet or your laptop, your computer, and you're there on your social media and you're following all these people who you look up to, who you idolize, who you wish you were like, or would love to have a life like that. What we do, or should I say what some people do, is take all those insecurities and compare them to all those best bits that they watch and look up to. And you're not giving yourself a chance. And what you're doing is you're telling yourself that you're not good enough, that you'll never be like that because you've got all these insecurities. So we don't give ourselves a chance. We're good at beating ourselves up as a society, as human beings. And what I do is I help people to turn that around.
That's brilliant.
Help people to be their own cheerleader, to big themselves up, to be their own best friend, to love themselves. And I know that sounds a little cheesy for some people, but until you actually genuinely appreciate yourself and love yourself and understand how absolutely incredible you are, you don't stand a chance. It's hard work life, as it is.
It's hard work life. It's hard work, this life.
Hard work life.
But it's better with friends, right? It's better with friends. Okay.
It's
and
absolutely.
You bring your tools every week to Move.
Yes.
So let's just talk about that. What was it about Move that really attracted you to coming and being part of it?
Yeah. So when I started my business in lockdown, because it was just a great time to do it. And I couldn't get out networking, and Mark Waldron had developed Move Online, and I was like, right, networking, give it a go. I remember my first meeting. I was petrified. I was like a fish out of water, and I don't know what I'm doing. I was a startup. I was on my own. I didn't know anybody, but the group was so welcoming, so full of advice, so friendly, really, really supportive. And I always say, Move is home. Move helped me to grow as a business owner, as a person, helped me keep myself in check. Even though I'm a therapist, I need to be kept in check as well. I'm a human being at the end of the day. I'm not a robot. So Move did all that for me. And it's like, Move is home. Move is home. I grew up there when it comes to my business. So Move has been an absolute integral part of my business growing. I started off on Move just as a counsellor. And when I think of how far I have come, and and a lot of Move as well, Mark and Andrea taught me my worth, helped me to see my worth. Because when I first started, I was charging like silly prices, and they were like, you're so undervaluing yourself but they gave me the confidence and the tools to be able to go, no, do you know what? I'm going to charge my worth. And then developing my business as well, because I was just seeing clients on one-on-one and never had the guts to be able to go into a university and say, look, I'm writing workshops and these are them. I could have never have done all that without Move. And now my business is just, it's great. It's not where I want it to be. It's still a baby. It's 3 years old. Just
well, but babies all grow.
Exactly. But Move has been a part of that, and that's why I love Move. Move is home.
Move is the rusks for babies. That helps them grow.
Oh, do you know what? For any startup out there, anybody who's starting in business, absolutely Move would be Move. I know for a fact Move is going to be an absolute massive, huge part of a person's business, especially for startups. It's a great platform to be involved in.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Now, listen, before you go, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us, or tell the people out there, hi, people, who are you looking for? Who do you want conversations with? Okay.
So, as I mentioned earlier, I want to work with students. I want to help empower the young people of today, our future. I want to help empower our future. And right now, my focus is working with universities. So I am looking to speak with the heads of the student services teams, the head of counselling teams and wellbeing teams within universities. So we're looking at Lipper, Edge Hill and Hope at the moment. So if anybody out there is listening and knows them people,
tag them in.
Tag them in, please.
Tag them into this and say, please. Watch this. You have to watch this. If you don't watch anything else today, forget Netflix, forget Disney Plus. This is what you need to be watching. Move TV.
Yes, absolutely. Subscribe.
You don't even have to do that.
Don't you?
No, it's all free. Well, no, subscribe because it will be good. At least more people will get to see it, and that's a great thing. Martine, thanks for joining us.
You're most welcome.
We've got to go now because
we've got our Move.
You've got Move too. So if you want to join us, if you're watching this live and you want to join us, hop on move-online.co.uk, quickly book in and get to the meeting. I will see you in a few minutes live at Move at Thursday, 10 o'clock. Or not, if not, pick another time. Come another time of the week. We'd love to see you there. Until next time, this has been Move TV with myself, Graham and Martine. Bye for now.